Okay, Venerable Brother, Dhamma friends, we have come to the last Dhamma discussion of this February Kalalgoda retreat, and as usual, Shalini is ready with written questions, so we will start the session with written questions.
Avasarai Bhante, there are 3 questions.
Right.
Question number 1, Most Venerable Bhante, this Bhante is stemming from yesterday's question on gratitude and attachment.
Right.
Okay. The attachment that has risen with the gratitude can only be eradicated via seeing the attachment as it arises and letting go, isn't it, Bhante?
Yeah, we can say so. Yeah, we can see apart from the gratitude, kind of a gratefulness in the mind, is there any personal type of an attachment? Are you attached to a certain person? It doesn't matter that he is a teacher, he is an elder, or he is another good person. So, being grateful is one thing in a way, and attachment is another thing. So, this is actually discussed not in the same terms, but in the loving kindness meditation. Probably you have heard about loving kindness meditation, that the kind of close enemy or far enemy of the loving kindness meditation. So you know that the loving kindness meditation is something that typically we promote, particularly to address the anger in one's mind. And there are, one thing is sometimes we say, okay, when you are meditating, when you are practicing loving kindness, if you are a male, take a male character to practice. If you are a female, take a female character to practice. Because there is a possibility that the mind might turns into the lust. Now, we started with some sort of a loving friendliness, but it can lead towards some sort of a lustful attachment. So, because loving kindness meditation, we wish that someone's happiness, someone's progress, someone's well-being, but it can slowly turn into a kind of an attachment, kind of a lustful attachment towards that particular person. So similar thing here also. So you are being grateful to someone, but in a little hidden way, probably you might develop some sort of an attachment towards that person based on that gratitude. So we need to little careful with these things, and sometimes we start kind of a sympathetic joy on the other hand. Probably can go ahead with a little bit of a defiled state, or we might have certain kind of a compassion towards someone. Can end up with a little bit of attachment. You may be sort of maintaining kind of sympathy towards another one. Can end up with this kind of a lustful engagement. So therefore we need to be careful, even though it appear like at the beginning very innocent, fairly righteous, kind of a good quality, maybe the gratitude, but we need, if we are not careful, probably it can end up with this kind of a unnecessary kind of an attachment. So this is maybe common with other things as well. It is not only unique to gratitude. So that's why I need to little generalize it. So whatever relationship we are maintaining with someone can lead to a certain amount of attachment. That's why we need to maintain certain kind of a distance in a way, some understanding in a way, so that we are not stepping into that unnecessary attachment type of a relationship, dependent type of a relationship. On the other hand, we can say another thing. I like to emphasize this coming from the Buddha's teaching. Now, probably you can remember that Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Ananda were very close friends. Venerable Sariputta being the foremost disciple of the Buddha, Venerable Ananda being the close attendant of the Buddha, and Venerable Ananda often consulted Venerable Sariputta. Venerable Sariputta very much like one of the most wisest person, and so he often he guided Venerable Ananda and again gave instructions. So Venerable Ananda was so grateful to Venerable Sariputta. And once Venerable Sariputta passed away, so the message being carried by the Venerable Chunda, and it is being mentioned to Venerable Ananda And Venerable Ananda was so confused after hearing it. He couldn't even bear it because Venerable Sariputta was so instrumental to Venerable Ananda, so great, so helpful to Venerable Ananda, and Venerable Sariputta being a really good example. And Venerable Ananda become fully almost like collapse by hearing the passing away, final parinibbana of Venerable Sariputta. So he accompanied Venerable Mahachunda to the Buddha, and once this story being informed to the Buddha that Bhante, after I heard about Venerable Sariputta's passing away, I feel confused, I feel completely collapsed. My mind was almost like I lost my samadhi. So this happened to me. So the Buddha knew that Venerable Sariputta is the kind of a Kalyana Mitra to Venerable Ananda, and all that he knew. But instead of putting it that way, so what the Buddha mentioned to Venerable Ananda is Atta Deepa Viharata Atta Sarana Ananya Sarana. Dhamma Deepa Dhamma Sarana Ananya Sarana. Atta Deepa Viharata. So you be an island unto yourself. You be an island unto yourself. You be a refuge to yourself, and there is no any other refuge. You be keep the Dhamma as a refuge, Dhamma as an island, no other refuge. So how are you going to do it? Kaye kayanupasse vihirati, vedanasu vedananupasse vihirati, chitte chittanupasse vihirati, dhamme dhammanupasse vihirati. So basically, Buddha again and again highlighted that we individually have to become an island to ourselves. So we are not. So Buddha didn't say that okay, even though Venerable Sariputta passed away, I am here, don't worry. He didn't say like that. Instead, he trying to strengthen Venerable Ananda, saying, okay, you be the island to yourself. You be a refuge to yourself. Don't depend on anyone else. Now you be the island. You be the refuge. Keep the Dhamma as your refuge. Keep the Dhamma as your island. So that's a fairly profound and fairly mature advice that Buddha is giving to Venerable Ananda. So it is so true that Venerable Ananda was so grateful to Venerable Sariputta, and then actually the Buddha himself was talking, mentioning about the great qualities of Venerable Sariputta. All that was done. But as an advice, what Buddha mentioned to Venerable Ananda is be a refuge to yourself. Yeah.
The rest of it. Also, with whatever keles that enters the mind, the seeing is done either at the sanya or vitakka level. This attachment cannot be destroyed by suppression and avoidance, is it?
We can say so, yes. Actually, the suppression and avoidance, right? You mentioned avoidance.
Yes.
Now, the thing is now, say for example, avoidance. Now, avoiding here basically means, now, if we don't avoid a particular instance, particular occasion, probably we may get involved with it, and again the defilements may be arising. So you are promoting in that sense the arising of the defilements. You are giving it a chance, giving it an opportunity. But how about if you avoid it? Then we are not giving that chance to the defilements to arise. So therefore, avoiding is another technique. So we can't deny it, saying, okay, it is that we can't abandon defilements merely by avoiding. We can't say so, because that's why in the Sabbasa Sutta, Buddha highlighted as vinodana pahatabba. Through the avoidance also, you can, to some extent, abandon the defilements, because you are not giving a chance for them to arise. But once they arise, in case, then don't tolerate it, abandon it. Right? Actually, the avoidance is the parivajjana pahatabba, not vinodana, parivajjana pahatabba. In case, due to some reason, if they arise in the mind, okay, vinodana. So now abandon them. So it is also not a type of a suppression. Actually, at the beginning, maybe type of a suppression, because it depends on where we are, depends on the level of our practice. So many different techniques are explained in order to abandon defilements, abandon vitakka, different thoughts in a way. And suppression also taken as the final type of a strategy. Of course, it is not the best strategy. You may be trying various strategies like explained in the Vipassana Sutta. You can try various techniques to abandon the thoughts. But in case those doesn't work, then you can even try to suppress it. But as you are practicing mindfulness, slowly, you learn no need to suppress it now. So you can even use different vitakka, different types of thoughts, even as ways and means to develop wisdom. So that's why in the Nissarana Pabba, so various vitakka, maybe kama chanda, maybe sexual desires, maybe ill will, maybe sloth and torpor, all different defilements, hindrances are also being used to develop wisdom. So Satipatthana give you a fairly comprehensive approach. So now you are not going to kind of suppress, but you are even using them because you know that they are also coming, they are also going. You don't need to suppress. They will go.
Cause when I was getting scolded by a relative, I never avoided her. Since I have to do my duties, I confronted her daily. As it is via her, I was able to see the arising changes in the mind and body via anger and passing away of dvesha. I am so grateful to her. Now with this attachment also, should I do the same?
Yeah. So it depends on your courage. That's what I said. It depends on where we are. Depends on at what level we are. So if you are feeling confident, okay, now I am capable of handling it, bearing it, facing it, okay, go for it. No, you don't need to suppress it. You don't need to avoid it. Maybe you can't even avoid it. It's maybe your duty to help, to take care. Even though the other person is reacting negative way, but you are continuing it, bearing it, properly handling it in yourself. So therefore, avoidance might not work every time. So you may have to bear sometimes, maintain the tolerance or the patience at other times. All different strategies are there. We can't say avoidance is the only mechanism. It is one mechanism, but maybe other different possibilities are also there. So depending on the occasion, find the best solution. Yeah.
Although it seems a harmless attachment, it is causing suffering. Also, as Bhante mentioned, his most venerable Katukurunde Thero changed Bhante's life. I also feel a turning point in my life was finding the correct teachers, most venerable Dhammajiva Thero and Bhante. I have no words to describe the gratitude towards the teachers. May Bhante have more and more free time to Bhante's practice.
Thank you.
Most respected Bhante, based on my experience, my understanding is now I am living in two different worlds. Under the retreat environment, I have some sort of confidence to maintain a perfect mind, and I can involve with simple activities without creating me or mine too. But when living with society, it is required to spend reasonable time for listening and studying Dhamma to maintain the calm state. Further, when dealing with difficult situations, especially in the working place, I can feel how stress is coming to my mind and the way body reacts to those by creating health issues. Further, I think new keles also creating. Dear Bhante, I kindly and humbly request more advice and more techniques to manage the difficult situations without attaching to them, please.
Yeah. Facing is the solution at this level. So basically, you are now confident, you know they are coming and going, and you are capable of maintaining a fairly calm, relaxed, unattached state while at Kalalgoda, but not yet able to do it at the office. Very, very understood. So it doesn't matter. So that's why that is the area you need to really practice now. So Kalalgoda is already handled now, not a big thing. But how about being at a supermarket, maybe with your children, maybe with your other neighbors, maybe at a party, or maybe with other group of people, as you said, maybe at the office. Now all these are take as an opportunity, take as a kind of a test. What's that? There's a test. Can't remember. So I mean, in order to verify where I am, so is my practice is capable of maintaining my peacefulness even amidst others are disturbing me, or even the slightest disturbance cause my samadhi or my, say, calmness or peacefulness of mind to disturb. So this is very usual thing. So you all learn this, I mean, basically not something unusual. So at the beginning, what we develop is very fragile. Easily they will drop. You can't maintain it. So you may develop certain amount of mindfulness, certain amount of concentration, and once you open your eyes, everything lost. Or once you get up, everything lost. Or once you talk to someone, everything lost. So that's why it's very, very fragile. But as you move forward, you may understand, okay, now even though I open my eyes, that calmness which I have developed still remain in the mind. The concentration which I have developed can easily be attained. I don't need to struggle a lot to attain whatever the concentration. Again, I can maintain, say for example, that concentration of a long time. So likewise, you are recognizing that sustenance of those qualities. Not immediately, but with time, you may understand, okay, now they are sustaining, remaining for a long time, and now they can even withstand different disturbances. They can withstand amidst different disturbances. So that is another area to develop. So previously, whenever, say, someone opened the door, okay, I can't meditate. Whenever it is heat, I can't meditate. Whenever, say, sounds happen, I can't meditate. But now, still sounds happen, but you can meditate. Something like that. Previously, even a little slightest sound is really a disturbance to you, but now they appear like background, but you are able to maintain your attention. So similarly, as you are progressing, others may disturb. You may be at the office. Others may be talking and insulting and many things are happening, but maybe your peacefulness of the mind retained. So this indicates the maturity in a way, the calmness of the mind, stability of the mind. So that is why in the Kalakarama Sutta, as the final quality, Thadi Gune. Thadi means, so amidst all these ups and downs of the life, so Buddha, Arahant are capable of maintaining a stable mind. So therefore, it's a kind of a test that we all are having. So are we able to maintain the normal, calm, relaxed, peaceful state of our mind amidst all these repercussions, all these different consequences, so all these different opportunities? Or on the other hand, maybe based on vicissitudes of the life. Can't help. So this is the path. Don't expect everybody to respect you, venerate you, bless you, support you. But there may be instances you may understand, okay, the people sometimes disturbing me, trying to insult me. They also do a lot in my practice. So they are the ones teaching me, okay, there's another side also available. How to bear that, how to maintain that stability amidst the negative impact when they are coming. So simple as that. So therefore, just face the whole thing. Nothing is outside the practice, basically. So all these are different opportunities we come across. So it's our clever, skillful nature to use that properly, so that it also producing, it also giving some fertilizer to our practice. Not an easy thing. Very well understood. Not an easy thing. But we need to understand. So this is the path. So we are getting the backing, we are getting the guidance, we are getting the strength from what we practice here. So this is the kind of the training college. This kind of a training camp. So you are fighting, and you know this only at this level. But the battle is outside. Yeah.
Theruvan Saranai, Bhante, please expound on the meaning of the three last skandhas. I have heard various translations including conception, perception, discrimination, and awareness and consciousness. But I understand their literal translations are together to know, together to make, and to separate or divide, to know. Thank you.
Now, if I start with the, say, consciousness, for example. Now, consciousness. So, why is it called consciousness? One definition given in the Mahavedalla Sutta, Vijanati tiko bhikkhave tasma viññānāti uchati. So, Vijanati. You distinctly know, distinctly, discriminatively know. Say, now there are many people here, so I can discriminately know, okay, this is Tusita. So there are many things, but I can precisely, particularly pay attention to one person and recognize. So this is a function of Vijanati. So knowing discriminatively, distinctly. So that is one thing. And certain amount of that function has a certain help coming through the sanya also, because in order to do that discriminative, distinct recognition, so I am using certain signs. Okay, I know who is Tusita and how he looks like, and all that is my past gathered information, signs, marks. So I use that, and then I map the present information, the mapping going on, and then I do the recognition. So this recognition part is typically taken as the sanya, the perceptions. Actually, it's a kind of broader area in the sense even the little marks, little signs are also coming under the perceptions. And then based on that, probably once you recognize, so you may have a certain, another term, the perception, not the signs, not the marks, but you may develop a kind of a perception about that person. Okay, Tusita is a tall person. Tusita is a good person. Tusita is a bad person. So that is a kind of a perception now I am harboring in my mind. So that is also considered as a perception. So typically in the Kanda level, I feel Buddha didn't come to that. Maybe that comes as a kind of a, we are using that term perception, true, but the sanya Kanda literally means the signs, which we are using for recognition. Sanya. Sanjanati ti ko bhikkhave tasma sanyati uchati. Sanjanati. Sanjanati means recognizing. So in order to recognize, I am using different signs, different marks. So I have a database of past experience, gathered little information, some data. So the present experience, I am mapping with that past experience. If something is tallied, okay, now I recognize, okay, this is him, this is her, this is that, this is this, something like that. So that all comes under the perception. I mean, I don't know how correct to say the perception, it's a science we can say. And formations, on the other hand, are, we can say, mental constructs. Different kinds of constructions that we do, little preparations what we do. So you can get the fairly profound definitions in the Kajjaniya Sutta, in the Kanda Sangyutta, Kajjaniya Sutta. So in Kajjaniya Sutta, Buddha gave all these interesting definitions for each and every aggregate. You can refer that. So I am mostly referring that actually. And the Sankhara, so there Buddha mentioned Sankatang abhisankharanti tasma sankharati uchati. Sankatang abhisankharanti. So everything what we are experiencing are sankatai. But I am adding my own stuff into the picture. So that is coming because of the sankhara. So these are very interesting areas actually. More we understand our mind about particularly these four mental aggregates, so we can see how deep it is and how we are functioning in a way. We say, okay, it is me who take the decision, it's I who taken the decision. But all these are actually intervening in this whole process, and that also we perceive as a person ignorantly. then I say, okay, I did the take, I took the decision. But many participants are there inside the mind, and ultimately we feel as I did it, I took the decision, etc. This and that. But many little mental constructs are participating in this transaction. Yeah, that's all. So if anybody want to participate, feel free to participate, or want to further construct, further fabricate.
That was his question.
Right.
Do you have anything else?
Nothing more. Don't need to add. You don't want to construct. So those are the questions that we received today. So if anything you need to add, if you want to say anything, so we have some more time, or else, yeah, that's one question coming from there.
So most respectable Bande. So I have a question. Thank you for your previous this day's teaching. And you mentioned two things. One is we should try to get rid of the negative part, and try to get rid of like bad people, to avoid our minds get polluted. But on the other hand, we come into this world as individual. So our actually the life billion significance for us is that this is like a journey for us, and we are coming here to develop our inner wisdom and to get enlightened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But in this world, to know this universe better, but in this world, the negative part is also a part of the world.
Sorry, the last part?
I mean the negative part.
Negative part.
Also, like
understood.
even the
Yes.
darkness
Yes,
is also a part of the world.
Exactly.
So, what do you think of it? And I know we should just try to observe things, no judgment, or just low involvement. But I just want to know what do you think our attitude should be in our daily life, daily practice? Okay,
Definitely.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So that's a good question. That's why already mentioned to some extent. So it depends on where we are. Assume that we are still very weak. Say, think about an infant, for example. So infant needs some sort of a protection, right? Because still he is vulnerable for certain, say, maybe bacteria, virus, and all these different, say, maybe heat. So the parents are looking after him because he's still very weak, right? Bodily weak, mentally weak, so the parents are as much as possible protecting him. So similarly, parents are avoiding certain extreme situations given to the child, and even the food they are selecting, only a very, say, soft foods they are feeding to the child, because even the digestive system is very weak. So similarly, for us also, when we are not fairly mature in the spiritual realm, so we are also very weak. Easily we get upset, easily we get angry, easily we get lustful, easily we feel discouraged. All these difficulties are there. So in such case, while maintaining such kind of a very vulnerable, weak mentality, if we get into a risky area, then we further will collapse. We further will be in trouble. Further, say, for example, I don't know what's really going to do. I don't know anything about mindfulness, any path, no understanding at all. But I continue to associate a bad person, continue to encounter a certain negative atmosphere. Then I become almost collapse. I become part of them. I am completely being kind of bewildered by such a situation. That is one scenario. But say now you are an adult. You already have gone through fair amount of practice, fair amount of understanding, and you know about the world, and you know how to overcome things and how to handle things. Now you are fairly a matured person. You can put yourself into a troublesome area. You know how to handle it. So therefore, at that level, you are in a better position to handle it. Spiritual side is also the same thing. Say you develop Satipatthana, you have fair amount of mindfulness, you have fair amount of concentration, you have fair amount of, say wisdom, so you know how to handle certain defilements when they are arising. Now nothing to worry. Now you can put yourself into the trouble even and see whether you are able to handle it. So maybe you are putting yourself into a negative situation, some difficult characters you have to face, different difficult situations you have to face. So how now the mind is behaving on such situation? So we now can't have to avoid it, rather we take it as a challenge. So as you said, now we are at a better position, we are at a more mature level. Okay, now I don't need to avoid in that level. Okay, I am facing it. I take it as a challenge. Okay, someone is saying, okay, these different people are there, these different difficult occasions are there. Okay, I am ready. I can face it. I can handle it. So that kind of an inner confidence may be available. On that case, true, we can handle it. So then we have a better understanding. Okay, this world is like this. There are good people, there are bad people, there are positive instances, there are negative instances. This is the way of the world. Okay, let me navigate through this world in a more better way. So likewise, so it depends on where we are. So if I am capable, no problem. You can put yourself into the challenging situation and test it. Go through it. And even those difficult situations then become a more good opportunities for you to further develop, further strengthen in yourself. If you avoid it, you are not getting that opportunity even. You see, I mean, therefore, these are all very practical and sort of depending on where we are, we have to select whether I am capable of doing it or still I better keep a distance. I am still not mature enough to handle it. Rather than I influencing him, he can influence me. Something like that. Say, for example, if you are weaker, you have no much understanding about the Dhamma, you have no much understanding about any of the mindfulness, any of this. So whenever you associate a bad person, all those negative qualities may be slowly influenced to you. But how about the other side? Say you are more confident, you are more advanced, you are more spiritually capable. You may be associating a bad person, but that bad person become a good person because of your strength. Something like that. yeah. Okay, so if there are no questions, then we can wind up the session. It's today's one, right? Today's one, right. Okay, so we'll wind up the session. So before we wind up the session, there are few notices. Our regular yogi Ira's husband, DP7, has undergone surgery. So we wish him a speedy recovery with the blessings of the Noble Triple Gems. And then today the lunch dana was offered by Sajit, son of regular yogi Priyani and Chamila, to transfer merits to father Mr. S.L. Gunawardana for his 4th death anniversary. Mother-in-law of Chamila and Priyani, Mrs. Gunawati, for her 6th death anniversary. Blessings to Sajit and Madhavi's first wedding anniversary, and blessings to good health to both Bantes. It may all the merits help to Bhava Nirodha to all of us at Kalalgoda meditation group. So it's a fairly advanced wish. Okay, so with that note, I invite Venerable Dhammalankara to conduct the formal sharing of merits.
Avasara Swamini Wanase. May our relatives and all beings share in the merits produced by today's teaching. May all celestial beings share in the merit produced by today's teaching, and may they protect the Dhamma exposition and dispensations of the Buddha for a long time. May the seeds of the Buddha's teaching that have been planted in our hearts grow, producing path, fruition and Nibbana. I invite you to join in the recitations of the traditional Pali verses for sharing merits. Iktavata hehi sambadam punya sampadang sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya එක්තාවතාචම්හෙහි සම්බදම් පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සබ්බේ භූතානුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පatti සිද්ධියා එක්තාවතාචම්හෙහි සම්බදම් පුඤ්ඤ සම්පදං සබ්බේ සත්තානුමෝදන්තු සබ්බ සම්පatti සිද්ධියා ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරන් රක්ඛන්තු ශාසනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරන් රක්ඛන්තු දේශනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරන් රක්ඛන්තු මම් පරං ඉදං වූ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදං වූ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදං වූ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බානපත්තියා ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බානපත්තියා ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං සමාගමෝ හෝතු යාව නිබ්බානපත්තියා සාදු සාදු සාදු.
I think you all can observe Ajivattamaka Sila. You may recite the precepts as well.